So I just want to kind of expand on a video that Divinity was making about bigotry. She was talking mainly about the "don't ask, don't tell" issue, which obviously failed in the Senate because it was filibustered. Which, God, we definitely need Senate some sort of Senate reform to keep them from using the filibuster as a weapon to block democracy like this. But Yeah, I guess I want to expand on a lot of the other kind of bigotry that's going on, because it clearly isn't just a anti-gay bigotry. That's a subset of there's a much larger expansion of bigotry that has really I've really found frightening in the past couple of years. Um, one of which is Arizona's Papers, Please immigration law, which now apparently anyone who looks Hispanic has the burden of that upon them to prove that they're legal to be in this country. Can be stopped for any time to be asked for papers, which is rather draconian, I believe, and I think also unconstitutional because immigration is supposed to be a federal policy, not state policy. Um, and then there's a whole slew of anti-Muslim bigotry. Um, starting with people, trying to conspiracy theorists trying to claim that Barack Obama is a Muslim, as if there was anything wrong with that. Then going on to the opposition to the Park 51 mosque, which people that these talking heads on Fox News have actually talked about it as like this jihadi recruitment center, like they're going to be training suicide bombers in that mosque, up a couple of blocks from Ground Zero, called Victory Mosque, and all this ugly, ignorant stuff. When the imam behind that mosque is actually a very progressive Sufi mystic, which is about as far from being Al Qaeda as you can get. I mean, the people who are opposing this mosque are, I think, more ideologically similar to Al Qaeda than the guy who's actually behind that mosque. And then from there leading to the Quran burning that didn't happen with the pastor who threatened to do it because he pussied out. But of course some other churches did go through with it. And apparently this was the point where Fox News finally drew the line on Islamophobia. They said, okay, well, that's actually too far. Even though we've, said all of these horrible, inflammatory things about Muslims, no, actually burning a Quran, that's going too far. But then they, of course, went on to equivocate that with building the Park 51 mosque, as if those were even, remotely similar activities. But lest you think that this expansion of bigotry is confined to the U.S., I direct your attention across the pond to La France, where President Nicolas Sarkozy is actually trying to expel thousands of Romani people. Now, the name Romani may not ring a bell for a lot of you guys, so you might know them better as gypsies. But anyway, these people have lived throughout in Europe for centuries and been one of the most oppressed people in Europe's history. There were times in history where it was perfectly legal to kill a Romani person for no reason. Now that those days are past, but the Sarkozy is dismantling several Romani camps, mostly composed of Romani from Bulgaria and Romania. And apparently this is part of his strategy to look tough on crime, as so many asshole politicians try to do. He's called these Romani camps, quote, sources of illegal trafficking, of profoundly shocking living standards, of exploitation of children for begging, and of prostitution and crime. So because of that, he's going to expel them all to Bulgaria and Romania as part of his clean up crime by being a bigoted asshole routine. The EU has condemned this mass deportation as a disgrace, as they rightfully should. Uh, and it's so funny to remember when healthcare reform was passed, Sarkozy came to the U.S. and congratulated America on, quote, joining civilization, in the most smug way possible. What kind of civilization, does this kind of mass deportation? I mean, it's the closest parallel I can think of would be the Spanish deportation of the Jews under Ferdinand and Isabella. So, um, what's with all this bigotry these days? What is with this world becoming so much of a more scary place? Well, bigotry, I think, is largely tied to economics. Um, Anti-immigrant sentiment tends to track not actual immigration numbers, but unemployment. Because immigration, yeah, in the U.S. has actually gone down significantly since 2008, but anti-immigrant sentiment has gone up, and it's gone up in proportion to the unemployment rate. So, basically, people are out of jobs, they're scared, and they're looking for someone to blame. Now, it's more obvious to blame the you know to blame Wall Street for the for the risky debt debt casino games that they're playing over the past 20 some odd years. And and of course, they have received their share of condemnation. Um, and of course, the government policies which allowed Wall Street to get so bloated. But of course, the politicians are in the pocket of these Wall Street elites, and they find it more convenient to point the finger at these marginalized groups. You know, the sort of foreign otherized groups make more convenient targets, and so they get the brunt of people's outrage and fear. So that's why I spend so much time in my videos on economics, because it's tied to so many other important issues. Um, if you create a more economically prosperous society, then all kinds of social benefits accrue. And when you have an unstable economy, when the economy is when people are in danger, when their livelihood is in danger, then they curl back, in a sense, into a more primitive form of consciousness and start seeing bogeymen everywhere. So, yeah, I've that's why I think that it's really important to focus on jobs and the economy, and on how is it affecting those least well off, because apparently the recession supposedly ended like last June or something, which that's not certainly most Americans don't feel that the recession is over, and a lot of places still have double-digit unemployment. So these issues are so intimately tied, and we need to focus on the broader picture in order to help solve these problems and create a more peaceful, harmonious society. So that's it for now. Peace.